get Joe Blow busking on the street to create a soundtrack for my film that I've slaved over. So on the same token, I don't know, I think, you know, if you're in a band and you're creating music and pouring your heart and soul into it and spending hours and days and weeks and months recording it, why wouldn't you want to work with someone who's going to, you know, sit there obsessively listening to your song and find a beautiful way of expressing your music visually? That to me is like what music videos are all about. They're not just things that get tacked onto songs. It's like it's a visual expression of an auditory art form. Music videos nowadays are unfortunately a massively underappreciated art form in terms of the production, and I totally blame that on living in a digital age where anybody can run around with an iPhone, film some footage, stick it onto a song and then whack it up onto YouTube and call it a music video. I personally think that's incredibly unfortunate and very frustrating as a filmmaker, because bands are they're missing out on a whole opportunity to collaborate with a wealth of people, like an entire community of filmmakers whose very job it is to come up with stories, create characters, design things beautifully, shoot things in like a totally magical way. And my main focus is as a short film and then eventually as a feature film director. Music videos are like something awesome that I love doing on the side because, you know, I used to be a musician. I'm obsessed with music. Music is like a massive part of my life. So I love doing music videos. I also find like doing music videos extremely liberating and freeing in terms of just creating something that you can turn over relatively quickly. Doing short films tends to take 6 months out of your life or even longer, so it's great to work in a medium that's extremely immediate, and you have a product at the end that you can share with a wide community of people who will watch the thing that you made because they like the band or because they like the song. So when creating music videos, I obsessively listen to the song over and over and over again to the point of insanity. I find that is the best way for me to come up with the story idea and to really get inspired by the music. Coming from a film background, I'm mostly or solely interested in making videos that have some kind of a loose narrative. I'm very much into collaborating with the band, so I like to sit down and show them the idea that I've come up with. And then for them to be like, yeah, we love this, we don't like this, and then we can all meet in the middle somewhere. Creating the treatment is something that I do not only to get really clear on my own ideas, but also to show to cinematographers that I work with, production designers, and also the band and the record label, if there's a record label involved. I recently had like an experience that was a really good learning experience for me, where I worked with a band who needed a video, and they had a really tight turnaround for the video, so there was basically no time to create a treatment. And I put together like an outline of what I saw the concept being, but it didn't have images in it and probably didn't like totally capture exactly the vision that I had in my head. And of course my vision was different from what their record label was expecting, and then when we finally shot the video and edited it together, the record label was kind of like, it doesn't really fit with the aesthetic of what we're after. So even though the band really liked it, the record label didn't want to put it out. Learning from that, when I put together the sonicology treatment for the Laurels, I really sat down and I time coded every single shot that was going to be in the video to every line in the song, and 10 seconds this shot, 13 seconds this shot, 15 seconds to 20 seconds will be this shot, and from this angle, so that it was really clear about how the video would look. And I'm kind of amazed personally to say that, you know, the video clip sort of turned out like 100% of the vision of the treatment. It was a really interesting process of, you know, not only me liking something, but also then the band liking it, and then thirdly, the record label liking it as well and signing off on it. Making the Laurels video clip for Sonicology was without doubt the hardest shoot that I've done. I think when you watch it, it looks like a lovely day walking around in the forest, but it was extremely physically arduous, and really became almost like a survival endurance test for the whole crew. A ridiculous amount of leeches, spiders, a red-bellied black snake about half a metre away from me hissing at me. 8 of us schlepping around with like 300 kilos of gear and food and water. The video clip, I'm really thankful, looks really beautiful, but it was really, really taxing to shoot. Especially Zeke, he was running around shirtless, covered in black paint that every time he fell over had to be reapplied to him, basically from head to toe. And he was like, you know, for as much paint that he had on him, he was also covered in leeches. I wouldn't go out and do that shoot again, but I'm really happy with how the video clip turned out. I do think that it's probably, you know, it's definitely the best video clip that I've done to date. The Pan Pacific Grand Prix video will surpass that. I hope that it does, because everything that I do should get better and better. It was probably the most fun I've had on a shoot. It was like a really crazy shoot in a crazy house, populated by extremely horrendously awful things that had come from my mind. It was just one of those days where we shot for 13 hours and we got so much awesome content. I'm now like in total struggle town trying to fit into the video. As far as dream ventures or partnerships go, I definitely wouldn't be saying no if Jeff Tweedy called me and asked me to direct the new Wilco video clip. But I really think that there's something to be said of working with local artists and working with your friends who are in bands. I'm a really strong believer of supporting the local artistic community. So although I'd love to work with like international bands with huge budgets, I hope that I'm always working with my friends who are, you know, creating their artistic careers alongside my own. It was really great for me, for instance, to work with the Laurels, because I used to play in that band and they're some of my best friends. I've known them for over 10 years. And when I finished up playing in the Laurels, I'd always hoped to make a music video for them, just to, you know, continue to be a part of their creative output.
My name's Samuel Bright. I'm a music video director based in Sydney, Australia. I work in post-production and I've been doing music videos freelance on the side. I really enjoy it. It's a great art form and a great way to push the limits of filmmaking. I studied a Bachelor of Electronic Arts at the University of Western Sydney, which is essentially an experimental video and sound installation art degree. After that, I was in a number of bands. I think being a musician gives me an extra insight into directing music videos because I can understand the other side of the lens. The inspiration from a lot of my music videos comes from everyday life. Sometimes I have ideas in dreams that I wake up and write them down. I'll collate these ideas into a notepad, and when an artist comes to me with an idea, often something will resonate in there, and then it's just about moulding or shaping that original idea to their song. This is really interesting because often my original idea takes a completely different shape or form. When working with the artist, often there's a lot of back and forth to show them what I'm trying to explore or execute, and usually the best kind of videos I find is when an artist is completely open to that process. The way I see it is they've provided the music, so I'm providing the vision. It's different for every director, but I find that the best music videos come from an equal collaboration between a musician and a filmmaker. I think the important thing is that it moulds together well, and I think a lot of that is in the conceptual process. The mood of the song, the feel, all these things dictate the visuals in a sense. The great thing about music videos is it can give a song a whole nother dimension, a whole nother lease of life that had not been previously conceptualized. And that can actually be an amazing thing for, marketing a video, because it's something completely different to what the song was intended. If you've got that balance right, the artist will generally resonate with the idea.
Try keep your eyes in their sockets. Our potions are vulgar and violent. You need all your hands in your pockets. You need your hands in your pockets. Here's a pill that's white as snow, relieves tension and parental control. I heard your teachers are lost in the mess that you created 'cause you're smarter than them.
I think the Australian music video scene is a bit unique. I think it's quite safe. If you look overseas to Europe, there's a lot of really crazy, radical things going on in music videos that I think we could take a good look at and get some inspiration from. With the lack of budgets and the collapse of that side of things in music video world these days, I'd be a bit naive to think that you could make music videos full time and survive. However, I would love to be able to work on music videos and direct them and shoot them all around the world. Even better would be to work with my favourite band, which is Radiohead. The difference between working with an independent artist and a major label is often the level of control that the filmmaker will have. When it comes to big, well-known filmmakers, they often get a lot of free rein, but I think the hard thing is when you're starting out, trying to push the limit but also have that trust, and that trust takes a long time to get built, and really you can only demonstrate that through your work that you do over the years. It rests with the artist ultimately and the labels and how far they're willing to let you go. For them it's their product and they have a sense of safety, but at the same time I think with music videos, the more risk, the more potential for reward and people being captivated by the artist and what kind of visuals can accompany their music. One music video that's one of my favourites would be Radiohead Karma Police. It's a one-take video and it's just beautifully shot, simple concept, executed well. All the stunts are in camera and that's how I tend to like to do things. You know, very organically in camera as much as possible. With digital technology and a lot of people consuming music videos on their phones, it's definitely created an interesting environment for music video directors to have to compete and hold people's attention. People need to be bolder and do crazier things and step outside the box just to have people watching for that video for more than 30 seconds. I think it's the role of the music video director to both keep the audience engaged but also do the song justice. Filmmaking's an amazing platform and a way to express ideas. Music videos generally are the most free form and the potential is endless really.
Bye.